In Konoha the opening game plays as Jikuni Yuanichi Chapter 251-276. Chapter 251. Behind the captain of the Anbu of the Land of Water, there was a mysterious figure wearing a mask. Although the strength of the ninja in front of him was average. But Kusuo Hatake could feel the dangerous breath from the man behind him. It's just a young kid, but he made you waste so many people. The masked man said slowly. The Mizukage Anbu standing in front of him looked a little ugly. Now that you have met me, leave your life here. The masked man pulled out a knife from his back very domineeringly. Instantly, powerful chakra filled the surroundings of the three people. Through the transparent world, Hatake Kusuo could already feel that Shari in the distance had ended the battle. This Shari's body is getting stronger and stronger now. Hatake Kusuo was also satisfied with Shari's physical reaction. But when he saw the explosive knife Famo Hatake Kusuo in the hand of the man in front of him, he felt a little hot. The last time I saw this explosive knife Famo was when Zabuza was killed. I didn't expect that this big knife would return to the owner's hands in such a short time. Through the original work, Hatake Kusuo knew that this person must be Muri Shinpachi who was resurrected by Orochimaru. But according to the current strength of Orochimaru, he has not been able to resurrect all the others. Otherwise, I'm afraid a new ninja war will happen again. Sir, there's no need to talk so much nonsense to him. The captain of the Anbu slightly moved to the side, letting Kusuo Hatake's body out. The masked man immediately took a step forward with the Bakudo Famo in his hand. In that case, I'll do it. Murashinichi held the Bakudo Famo in one hand and swung it instantly. Feeling the blade of the Bakudo Famo swinging over. Kusuo Hatake stood there passively. With Kusuo Hatake's reaction ability, when the blade hit his face, it would be enough to dodge. But what Kusuo Hatake didn't expect was that a familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of Kusuo Hatake. Natsuhi. Kusuo Hatake frowned slightly. Are you okay? Based on Kusuo Hatake's understanding of Natsuhi's strength, if he met the current Murashina Natsuhi, if he went all out, he might still be able to fight. Don't worry, Master Hatake Kusuo, I can deal with him alone. There will be no problem. Peacock magic. Open. With a bang. A large amount of fire burned beside Shari. Hatake Kusuo took a step back when he saw this. Through the transparent world, Hatake Kusuo suddenly discovered an interesting phenomenon. Even the masked man in front of him had a mysterious chakra thread behind his body. It seems that someone is controlling him from behind. But Hatake Kusuo knew very well. The identity of the masked man in front of him must be Murashinpachi. Because he had already learned the clues from Moriki Ibiki. Now, it must be Orochimaru who is behind the scenes. This battle allowed Shari to get rid of Murashinpachi, which was also a training. After all, Murashinpachi was also a member of the 7 ninja swordsmen, and Hatake Kusuo was also here to get these 7 swords. Although one of the swords should be in Kisami's hands now. However, if he could get the other 6, he would be able to improve his kindergarten strength. Since Muri Jinpachi is now controlled by someone, his body must be able to exert its full strength. You must be careful, this person is much stronger than those you met before. Hatake Kusuo even closed his eyes and carefully checked the condition of Natsuhi's body through the perspective world. Condition. At this moment, Shari's body only had about half of the chakra. Except for the fire chakra, the other part of the purple-black chakra was very scarce. Don't worry, Master Kusuo Hatake. Shari immediately began to make hand seals. A blade condensed by fire chakra appeared in Shari's hand. With the weapon, the distance between Shari and Intel was pulled closer. Seeing this, Kusuo Hatake had a more admiring look in his eyes. Where did this little girl come from? The masked man snorted coldly, but the explosive knife in his hand did not relax at all. Ah! The masked man immediately swung the explosive knife and chopped it towards Shari's face. Shari immediately raised the weapon in his hand to block it. After a bang, Shari's body instantly retreated more than 10 steps backwards. However, Murashinpachi stood still, and the explosive blade in his hand did not even shake. Hatake Kusuo did not have too many doubts about this. After all, Murashinpachi was one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Even though he was summoned through the impure world reincarnation, his strength was extraordinary. Thinking back to the original anime, Murashinpachi was resurrected in the 4th Ninja War and caused a lot of trouble. Although it was not 7 people who attacked at the same time, this single person had already caused trouble for them. Fire Style. Fire Dragon Bullet. Chapter 252. A huge fireball was spit out by Shari. But Murashinpachi stood in front of the fireball, and just waved the explosive blade in his hand, and instantly split the huge fireball in half. This strength is really strong. It can split the fireball in half with just one sword. Shari also became serious when seeing this. The intensity of the fireball just now was extraordinary. Fire Escape. Phoenix Fire Technique. Shari retreated quickly. Several fireballs flew towards Murashinpachi in an instant. In the original work, Kusuo Hitaki had only seen such ninjutsu on Uchiha Itachi. I thought Murashinpachi would be hurt by this ninjutsu. But what Kusuo Hitaki didn't expect was that Murashinpachi only used the explosive knife in his hand to hit the fire shields completely. It seems that he really has some strength. Although Kusuo Hitaki's strength does not need to worry about Murashinpachi. But the person fighting Murashinpachi at this moment is Shari. Kusuo Hitaki does not know whether Shari has the ability to fight him. Although the number of people Shari is currently using is very strong. But there should be no signs of defeat so far. Look at the Mizukage Anbu standing aside. At this moment, the 4 of them stood here and looked at each other. I never thought that a little girl could perform such a powerful ninjutsu. Which family are you from? Are you from the Uchiha clan? Hearing this name, Kusuo Hitaki was also a little surprised. It seems that the Uchiha clan at that time left a shadow on many people. Even the 7 ninja swordsmen at that time were a little afraid of their people. I am under the command of Lord Kusuo Hitaki. When this sentence came out, Kusuo Hitaki was really shocked. I didn't expect that at the critical moment, Shari could say such a thing. People who are not from the Uchiha clan can actually perform such a strong fire shield. It seems that you, the little girl, have some talent. Hearing the praise from Murashinpachi, Kusuo Hitaki had a bad premonition in his heart. But no matter how good your talent is, you must die here today. As he said, the explosive knife splashed back at Shari's body in an instant. Peacock Magic. Defense. A red protective shield instantly appeared beside Shari. But with a loud bang, the protective shield was instantly chopped into pieces by Shinobi Murashinpachi. Hitaki Kusuo instantly understood that Shinobi Murashinpachi had exerted all his strength. The night before, Hitaki Kusuo had been studying puppetry. But the ninjutsu that Hitaki Kusuo could feel on this puppet was different from the ninjutsu used by the Star Ninja Village before. The ninjutsu on Shinobi Murashinpachi was more powerful than those few times. What surprised Hitaki Kusuo was that he could not find the source along this chakra line. In the end, he could only trace it to the ground. It seems that this caster is really capable. The explosion of Shinobi Murashinpachi's hand became more and more intense. Shari's body began to move backwards. You step back and I'll do it. Hitaki Kusuo was about to take action, but was stopped by Shari. Don't worry, Master Hitaki Kusuo. I can definitely take care of this man. After the voice fell, Shari quickly formed a seal and hit Wuli Jinpachi in front of him. Several shurikens were thrown out from Shari's hand in an instant. Boom. 4 detonating tags exploded instantly. Fire Escape. Great Fireball Technique. The huge fireball rushed towards the center of the explosion. The flames burned for nearly half a minute before disappearing. Hitaki Kusuo had a new understanding of Shari this time. I didn't expect that a ninja with such ordinary strength could actually use such a powerful ninjutsu. In front of the fire shield, I'm afraid only Uchiha Itachi and her could be a match. After the flame faded, a figure appeared in front of Shari. How could it be? Before Shari could react, a burst of swords flew directly in front of Shari. Get out of the way. With a ping, Hitaki Kusuo drew out his short sword and directly blocked all the power of the sword. Huh. Muri Shinpachi frowned and looked at Hitaki Kusuo. Who are you? Hitaki Kusuo did not explain, but turned his hand, and a blood mark immediately appeared on Muri Shinpachi's wrist. Ah! Muri Shinpachi immediately slashed the burst of swords in his hand at Hitaki Kusuo. But with Hitaki Kusuo's strength, there was no way to touch him with his sword. Didn't you just not have the strength to fight? Muri Shinpachi frowned slightly, but Kusuo Hitaki didn't take it seriously and smiled coldly. The reason why I stood here is because I wanted to see how strong you are. And now I've seen that your strength is not that good. Kusuo Hitaki was about to draw his sword, but Shari behind him gently patted him on the shoulder. Don't worry, Master Kusuo Hitaki, I can do it. Chapter 253. Shari rushed towards Muri Shinpachi again, and this time the chakra in Shari's body was instantly restored. And the dagger hidden in Kusuo Hitaki flickered slightly. Shari's body ignited a purple-black flame. Kusuo Hitaki instantly felt the familiar chakra in Shari's body. It's the power of the stars again. Kusuo Hitaki didn't expect that the purple chakra that had disappeared completely would now bloom completely. Kusuo Hitaki pulled out the dagger. The chakra in the dagger had long been extracted by Kusuo Hitaki. But now, chakra appeared again. Girl, I will never leave you any chance this time. A trace of danger flashed in Murashinichi's eyes. You may have some misunderstandings about my strength. Our village has indeed been hiding for too long. Purple chakra instantly bloomed on Shari's body. A touch of purple-black flame in the thick fog was extremely enchanting. My star ninja village. After years of training, I will never lose to you. Shari quickly formed a seal. A purple sword blade appeared in Shari's hand. But Murashinichi sneered when he saw it. It seems that you have some misunderstandings about me. The masked man slowly took off his mask. It turned out to be Murashinichi's face. You really have been resurrected. Hitaki Kusuo's eyes tightened. At this moment, the power of the chakra line behind Murashinichi became even stronger. Murashinpachi's body instantly disappeared from the spot, and a strong sword blade appeared beside Shari. Shari's body was immediately chopped back a few steps. But this time Shari was not as embarrassed as before. Peacock magic. Cut. A purple sword blade instantly chopped towards Murashinpachi's body. Murashinpachi immediately picked up the explosive knife in his hand to block it. After a loud bang, Murashinpachi's body was instantly chopped back more than 10 steps. And 2 deep grooves were left at the place where Murashinpachi just stood. Seeing this, Kusuo Hitaki raised his chin slightly. At this moment, the thick fog that had been cast in the forest before had gradually dissipated. Kusuo Hitaki also clearly saw that there was a trace of blood at the corner of the mouth of Murashinpachi assassin not far away. Muri Shinpachi's eyes actually had the look of a normal person. The taxi driver was a little confused about this. Before this, Orochimaru had used the impure world reincarnation to summon people, and their eyes were always black. The situation of this Muri Shinpachi in front of him was different from that of the others. But Kusuo Hitaki knew that there was no time to talk about these things at the moment. Water escape. Water bullet technique. Just when Shari was preparing to defend against the enemy, the Anbu ninja beside him suddenly attacked. Shari's body was immediately hit by several water bullets and took a step back. A trace of blood slowly flowed down the corner of Shari's mouth. You dare to attack from behind. After Kusuo Hitaki finished speaking, his figure suddenly disappeared from the spot. The next second, before the ninja could speak, his body was directly chopped by Kusuo Hitaki. From the tree trunk, the body of the Anbu ninja slowly fell to the ground, lifeless. This sword technique. Even Muri Shinpachi was somewhat amazed by Kusuo Hitaki's sword technique. Zero, please give me flowers, don't be distracted. With a puff, Natsuhi's blade instantly pierced through Murashinpachi's chest. A trace of blood spurted out from Murashinpachi's body. Asshole. Murashinpachi cursed angrily while slashing the explosive knife in his hand at Murashinpachi beside him. At this time, Murashinpachi had already seen that Murashinpachi was actually using such means. He had completely ignored his own injuries. Murashinpachi swung the explosive knife Famo in his hand and chopped at Shari's vital point. This time, Shari's body has completely bloomed the chakra of the star. For Murashinpachi's attack, Sharidao was also defending slowly. Hitaki Kusuo, who was standing by, saw this scene and watched it with interest. I don't know if this legendary explosive knife Famo can compare with the chakra in Shari's body. With Hitaki Kusuo's strength, he can clearly feel that the chakra in Shari's body is very arrogant at this moment. And the shield and blade condensed by Shari at this moment are very sharp. Even if he met Murashinpachi now, the explosive knife Famo in his hand was not afraid at all. The two immediately made a ping-pong sound. Suddenly, Shari jumped into the sky and flapped his wings quickly. The powerful force pulled Shari's body and rushed towards Murashinpachi quickly. Puff! Murashinpachi's body was hit again in an instant, and he retreated dozens of steps in succession. Although Murashinpachi spurted out a mouthful of blood, the explosive knife Famo in Murashinpachi's hand was not damaged at all. It seems that I really underestimated the strength of a little girl like you before. She. Chapter 254. Murashinpachi wiped the blood left on his mouth. I don't know what weapon you use, but it can actually fight against the explosive knife Famo in my hand. Shari just sneered and waved the weapon in his hand again. Looking at Shari who was approaching, the explosive knife Famo bit his teeth tightly and looked at Shari viciously. Go to hell. Shari raised the explosive knife Famo high and chopped it down with all his strength. For a moment, a deep gully was split in the whole forest. At the other end of the gully, Shari was holding a weapon and a shield. A thick smoke hid Natsu's body. But when the smoke gradually dissipated, Murashinpachi frowned. Under Murashinpachi's full-strength attack just now, the shield in Natsu's hand was completely shattered. Fire escape. Phoenix fire technique. Several blazing fireballs instantly flew towards Murashinpachi's body. Murashinpachi's eyes were fixed on the mist in front of him. Suddenly, the mist dissipated, and several fireballs whizzed out. Murashinpachi immediately waved the explosive knife flying foam in his hand to block it. Boom! Loud noises came from the explosive knife flying foam. The detonating tags on the knife were ignited by the phoenix fire, causing an explosion. Murashinpachi tightly grasped the explosive knife flying foam. The strong vibration from the explosive knife flying foam caused Murashinpachi's knuckles to bleed. Damn! Bastard! Ah! Bakudo Famo roared and immediately formed a seal. Water escape. Water dragon wall. A tall water wall instantly appeared in front of Wuli Jinpachi. The fireball ejected from Shari's mouth was intercepted. This Shari has reached the last moment. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Shari nervously. After performing the ninjutsu just now, Shari has now knelt on the ground. Although Shari has tried his best to use the chakra in his body is not ideal after the full force just now and now. Although Wuli Jinpachi's strength has not yet fully blossomed, Shari has tried his best. Peacock. Peacock magic. Slash. Shari's eyes are full of fighting enthusiasm. The chakra on his body is burning again. But Hitaki Kusuo on the side did look at Shari with some surprise. Shari's chakra, which had been exhausted, is now burning again. Where does this guy get so much chakra? Even Hitaki Kusuo was a little surprised, but when Hitaki Kusuo carefully observed Shari's body, he found something strange. It turned out that in every blood vessel of Shari's body, there were fragments of stars flowing. It was these fragments that helped Shari to continuously collect chakra. So Shari could fill his chakra again and again in battle. Hitaki Kusuo was a little surprised by this. If he had known that this thing could have such an effect, he would have brought it with him. At present, the meteorite had already been refined into a dagger by Hitaki Kusuo. Even if Hitaki Kusuo wanted to use it, there was no way. Since you insist on seeking death, then I will obey you. Murashinpachi quickly formed seals with both hands. Water style. Water linking technique. The ninjutsu performed by Murashinpachi was much different from the ninjutsu performed by the Anbu ninja just now. A large number of water lotus bullets instantly hit Hitaki Kusuo and Natsuhi. Hitaki Kusuo just pulled out his sword easily. Sun breathing, fifth style. Train. The blazing flames instantly burned all the water-linking bullets. Fire style. Big fireball technique. A blazing flame spewed out from Natsuhi's mouth. The two flames instantly devoured Murashinpachi's body. Water style. Water dragon wall. Murashinpachi performed water style to protect himself from the flames. Just as Murashinpachi when Jinpachi was about to attack, a figure rushed out from in front of him. It was Natsuhi, who swung a blade made of long chakra and chopped directly at Jinpachi's arm. However, Jinpachi immediately swung the explosive knife in his hand to resist. The detonating tag on the explosive knife immediately blew Natsuhi's body in the opposite direction. But even so, under the strong driving force, Natsuhi still chopped it down with a knife. This time, Natsuhi chopped the explosive knife to the side. The sharp blade chopped down along the arm of Yin. As Jinpachi's body continued to retreat, the knife that Jinpachi had just chopped began to gradually disappear. This scene was seen by Kusuo Hitaki who was standing by. Jinpachi's arm slowly fell to the ground, and the moment Jinpachi's arm fell, blood spurted out from the wound. But what surprised Kusuo Hitaki was that the wound did not cause much damage to Shinobi Murashi. And there were also chakra threads appearing from the wound. Kusuo Hitaki immediately closed his eyes and carefully observed Shinobi Murashi's body. Chapter 255. Kusuo Hitaki then discovered that Shinobi Murashi's body was filled with chakra threads. And the hub of this chakra was right behind him. This is. Kusuo Hitaki narrowed his eyes and stared at Shinobi Murashi. Perfect puppet doll. Shinobi Murashi's body state was just like the perfect puppet technique recorded by Orochimaru. I really didn't expect that he actually developed it successfully. Even Chiyo didn't use this ninjutsu successfully at the beginning. But in Orochimaru's hands, Orochimaru actually used the impure world reincarnation and the overlap of these two ninjutsu. Ah! Shinobi Murashi stared blankly at his severed arm. What on earth is going on? What did you do? 06 Through this scene, Kusuo Hitaki can also clearly judge that the current Murashinpachi is a fighting machine. Shari, you retreat quickly. But Shari immediately quickly formed a seal. Fire escape. Great fireball technique. The huge fireball instantly swallowed up Murashinpachi's body. However, when the flame disappeared, Murashinpachi still stood there. What? For the first time, Shari's eyes were a little panic. Two whooshes. Two figures appeared beside Kusuo Hitaki. Lord Kusuo. The visitors were Kuroko and Moriki Ibiki. Why are you here? Kusuo Hitaki said without looking back. We were looking for something nearby. But we unexpectedly discovered the battle here. We found out that it was Lord Kusuo Hitaki, so we rushed back immediately. Is there anything we need to do? Kuroko asked. Hitaki Kusuo's eyes were fixed on Natsuhi. Right in front of Natsuhi, Murashinichi held a blasting knife in his left hand. There was a loud bang. Powerful chakra burst out from Murashinichi's body. It looks like he intends to fight hard. Moriki Ibiki drew a shuriken from behind. With a whoosh, the fingers shot at Murashinichi's back. Just when Murashinichi turned around, Natsuhi rushed over immediately. Peacock magic. Cut. A powerful purple chakra condensed blade draped over Murashinichi. Murashinichi immediately used his left hand to block it. Another bang. At this moment, the ground under Murashinichi's feet had already cracked on a large scale. A mouthful of blood spurted out of Murashinichi's mouth. Although Murashinichi had blocked it with just this one knife, he also paid a heavy price. Master Hitaki Kusuo. Natsuhi also found the two people beside Hitaki Kusuo. No problem. Keep going. He will recover soon. Just after Hitaki Kusuo finished saying this, Murashinpachi rushed out again. This time, Murashinpachi has been observing Murashinpachi's body. Sure enough, all the chakra in Murashinpachi's body was transmitted through the line behind him. And every time the body was injured, it was recovered by using this chakra. Hitaki Kusuo was instantly very interested in this chakra. It was different from the chakra in the Star Ninja village that he had come into contact with before. This time, the chakra behind Murashinpachi actually contained the chakra of the medical ninja. So every time Murashinpachi was injured, his body would recover quickly in a short time. Master Hitaki Kusuo, do we really not need to take action? Kuroko had already seen that Natsuhi was far-fetched. At this moment, the amount of chakra in Natsuhi's body was almost gone. Quick battle, quick decision, the surrounding reinforcements are coming. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Muri Shinpachi frowned slightly. Shari is now using the peacock magic. Naturally, he can also feel the figures around him. Several teams are coming from far and near, rushing towards them. Moreover, these teams are all filled with murderous intent. You too, get rid of all the reinforcements around now. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Kuroko was stunned for a moment, then he nodded immediately. With the strength of the two Demon Slayer Corps, it was easy to deal with these Anbu ninjas who came to support. Don't be nervous. Don't worry about this guy. Shari's body jumped directly onto a tree nearby. Fire escape. Phoenix fire technique. Several fireballs hit Murashinichi's body directly. Now Murashinichi is no longer as easy to deal with as at the beginning. The flames immediately left several scars on Murashinichi's body. But the chakra outside Murashinichi's body began to slowly help Murashinichi recover from his injuries. As expected. Hitaki Kusuo smiled slightly and quickly appeared behind Murashinichi. Do it. After hearing Hitaki Kusuo's order, Shari also rushed to Murashinichi at the same time. Just as Hitaki Kusuo cut off the chakra line behind Murashinichi, Shari in front of him also rushed to Murashinichi. You dare to cut my hand, I must kill you. Chapter 256. Biwa Juzo's hand tightly grasped the beheading sword in his hand. A strong breath instantly came out from Biwa Juzo's body. At this time, Shari was in the same place, and his hands quickly formed seals. However, Biwa Juzo sneered when he saw Shari's scene. You don't even plan to move, are you planning to die so early? But just when Shari was about to take action, Biwa Juzo's eyes suddenly looked at Hitaki Kusuo on the side. Especially after seeing the knife behind Hitaki Kusuo, Biwa Juzo's face suddenly changed. How did this knife get into your hand? Did you kill him? Biwa Juzo's eyes were fixed on Hitaki Kusuo. But Hitaki Kusuo was not afraid at all. Your opponent is here. Shari roared on the side. Instantly, a sword condensed by the peacock magic stabbed out. What? Seeing the blade condensed by chakra, Biwa Juzo was stunned at first. But he still swung the beheading sword in his hand very calmly. Go to hell. The beheading sword chopped on Shari's chakra sword. With a bang. A strong chakra storm burst out suddenly. With a click. Biwa Juzo's beheading sword shattered. Ah! Shari roared, and the chakra sword in his hand showed no intention of stopping. It stabbed towards Biwa Juzo's chest. Biwa Juzo slowly picked up the broken blade in his hand to block it. At the moment when Shari's body was about to pierce Biwa Juzo, the beheading sword in Biwa Juzo's hand also blocked Shari's attack. Detonating talisman. Explode. Boom. Seeing that the attack failed, Shari immediately took out an improved version of the detonating talisman and stuck it directly on Biwa Juzo's face. After hitting the target, Shari immediately retreated to Hitaki Kusuo. Master Hitaki Kusuo. Shari bowed respectfully to Hitaki Kusuo. This time, Shari was not as embarrassed as before. Hitaki Kusuo glanced at Shari and nodded with satisfaction. It seems that it's not over yet. Hearing Hitaki Kusuo's words, Shari was stunned at first, and then looked at Biwa Juzo who was seriously injured. The smoke of the detonating talisman gradually dissipated. In the thick fog, a figure stood in it. Haha, not bad. I haven't met such an interesting opponent for a long time. Biwa Juzang wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. At the moment of the explosion just now, Biwa Juzang immediately received the repair ability of the chakra power. After spending some time, Biwa Juzang stood up straight. I'll chop off your head. Biwa Juzang roared and rushed towards Shari's body in an instant. Although Shari had the peacock magic, Shari's combat experience was indeed not as good as Biwa Juzang. After just one encounter, Shari's body was cut by Biwa Juzang. Shari was injured and blood was left on the beheading sword. What surprised Shari was that the broken beheading sword actually absorbed the blood just now. And the blade began to recover gradually. How could this happen? Shari was stunned at first, and then immediately retreated. But Biwa Juzang's body showed no intention of retreating. Woman, your reaction is too slow. The big knife in Biwa Juzang's hand slashed at Shari's body again and again. And this time, every knife was fatal. Peacock magic, defense. A defensive shield formed by chakra instantly appeared around Shari's body. At the same time, Shari also found an opportunity and quickly retreated. Fire escape. Big fireball technique. A huge fireball instantly spewed out of Shari's mouth. It hit Biwa Juzang's body. The raging fire immediately enveloped Biwa Juzang completely. Water escape. Water dragon wall. After hearing the voice, Kuroko frowned. Although it was far away, Kuroko could still feel the water escape behind the fire. A tall water dragon wall instantly blocked all of Shari's attacks. Shari began to quickly form seals again. Fire escape. Phoenix fire technique. One after another, Fire Yan dodged the water dragon wall and continued to hit Biwa Juzang's body. Biwa Juzang rushed out of the flames with a beheading sword. Shari immediately formed a seal. Peacock magic. Chakra instantly condensed into two Qian Haojiao chakra wings behind Shari. Shari's body instantly flew up. This woman. Kuroko was shocked. How could she also? She knows much more than you think. It was the first time Kuroko saw the peacock magic. It can actually condense chakra into a fixed form. Kuroko's eyes were full of shock. This time, Kuroko's previous look at Shari had completely disappeared. Replaced with respect and shock. Shari's body had no intention of retreating at all. The beheading sword in Biwa Juzang's hand was already blocking Shari. Master Hitaki Kusuo, should I go over and help Natsuki now? Chapter 257. Although Murashinpachi only had one hand left, he still stubbornly swung the knife towards Natsuki's face. But Natsuki was defending slowly. The explosive blade must be used in conjunction with ninjutsu while slashing. Otherwise, the scroll of the detonating talisman would hardly have any effect. But when Murashinpachi was about to put on Natsuki, he found that Natsuki was not afraid at all. And there was a ball of fire in Natsuki's palm. Fire escape. Great fireball technique. Fortunately, Hitaki Kusuo reacted very quickly and immediately dodged from behind Murashinpachi. A fierce flame engulfed Murashinpachi's body in front of Murashinpachi. Water escape. Water dragon wall. Although Murashinpachi began to resist at the first moment, this resistance was a little too untimely. This technique again. Could it be that this time he is going to run away? Shari's eyes stared at the flames in front of him cautiously. But when the flames receded, Shari immediately punched out again. Murashinpachi was immediately beaten to spit out a mouthful of blood, and his body kept flying backwards. After crashing into several large trees in succession, Murashinpachi's body finally stopped in front of a rock. Moreover, Murashinpachi's body was deeply hit into the rock. After seeing this scene in front of him, Hitaki Kusuo was very shocked. It seems that I really underestimated you in the Star Ninja Village before. I didn't expect you to be able to perform such a ninjutsu. Even Hitaki Kusuo was a little surprised by the strength that Shari had burst out. To this day, apart from Shari, Hitaki Kusuo has not found anyone else who can possess such a strong power. Master Hitaki Kusuo, I will kill him right now. After Shari finished speaking, he quickly used the fire shield. By now, Shinobi Murashi had no power to fight back. He could only let the strong flames burn on his body. However, Shinobi Murashi had no power except screaming. Kusuo Hitaki suddenly discovered that the mysterious chakra thread that was originally controlling Shinobi Murashi had not been affected by any changes in such a dense flame. Kusuo Hitaki immediately appeared behind Shinobi Murashi and cut the chakra thread with his hand. But after the cut, Kusuo Hataki's eyes suddenly became very serious. As he thought, there was no change after the cut. It seems that these 7 people should have been controlled. It is not easy to get these 7 swords from them. Kusuo Hataki suddenly felt that his original plan did not seem to be so easy to succeed. The flames were constantly gushing towards Shinobi Murashi's body. But the flames suddenly stopped. Kusuo Hataki immediately turned his head to look at Shari, who was squatting on the ground with her hands covering her abdomen. Kusuo Hataki used his transparent world to quickly discover the changes in Shari's body. At this moment, there was little chakra left in Shari's body, but unlike before, this time Shari's body did not recondense new chakra in the first time. It seems that this body should have reached its limit. After the battle just now, Kusuo Hataki and Shari had tried their best to fight. Shari's own strength was not very strong, at most he was a jonin. However, the strength of Shinobi Muri Shinichi who fought against Shari was different. Shinobi Muri Shinichi was not only one of the legendary 7 ninja swordsmen. Not only was Shinobi Muri Shinichi now reborn using the impure world reincarnation. And Shinobi Muri Shinichi's body was also strengthened using the mysterious puppet technique. Under such a huge difference in strength, it was not easy for Shari to win this battle. Leave the rest to me, you should go to the side and have a rest. Hataki Kusuo appeared beside Shari and patted her shoulder gently. Shari tried to stand up, but failed after several attempts. I'm so sorry, Master Hataki Kusuo. I'm really useless. Shari felt very guilty. But Hataki Kusuo waved his hand. You've done a good job. If others can't do it like you. If you are interested, I hope you can join my Demon Slayer Corps in the future. After hearing this, Shari looked at Kusuo Hataki with surprise. Although Shari didn't know what this Demon Slayer Corps meant to Kusuo Hataki. But Shari just wanted to be able to follow Kusuo Hataki. Don't worry, Master Kusuo Hataki, I am very willing to join. After hearing this, Kusuo Hataki smiled slightly. Sun breathing, 5th style. Train. A ball of fierce flames instantly engulfed all of Shiba Murashi's body. When the flames died down, Kusuo Hataki immediately appeared in front of Shiba Murashi. In just a few seconds, Kusuo Hataki immediately covered the short knife in his hand. Chapter 258. A wave of air formed by the blade instantly engulfed Shiba Murashi's body. Shiba Murashi's body was enduring hundreds of attacks every second. Although Shiba Murashi's body was constantly recovering. But Kusuo Hataki's attack speed was higher than Shiba Murashi's recovery speed. Under such a terrifying attack, Shiba Murashi's body finally gradually disappeared. After watching Shiba Murashi's body completely disappear, Shari finally breathed a sigh of relief. I'm sorry, Master Kusuo Hataki, it's because I'm so useless and caused you so much trouble. Looking at Shari's self-blaming face, Kusuo Hataki stepped forward and helped Shari up. It's not your fault for this. Now that our current problem has been solved, we should leave here quickly. Hataki Kusuo knew very well that according to the habits of the Mizukage, if there was a problem here, reinforcements would arrive here in a short time. Although Hataki Kusuo was not afraid of those people. But at this moment, Shari's body was no longer suitable for fighting. The reason why Hataki Kusuo always brought Shari with him was that he hoped to receive a fierce general like Shari under his command. But Shari's body has not recovered yet. If Shari is allowed to participate in the next battle at this time, I am afraid that Shari will most likely die here. You adjust your physical condition here first. After saying this, Kusuo Hataki walked towards the body of Shinobi Murashi. After the battle just now, Shinobi Murashi had been chopped to pieces. But the explosive sword Famo that Shinobi Murashi had used before was now lying quietly on the ground. Kusuo Hataki reached out and directly picked up the explosive sword Famo and put it behind him. Is there anything special about this sword of Kusuo Hataki, sir? Shari looked at Kusuo Hataki with a puzzled look. Although after the battle just now, Shari still didn't know what secrets this explosive sword Famo had. You will slowly learn about these things in the future. Kusuo Hataki looked towards the direction of the land of water. It seems that our action this time is not as easy as we imagined. Shari was a little confused. Why do you say that? It can be clearly seen from these people just now. In fact, the Mizukage has already known our actions. Hitaki Kusuo knew it very well. Hitaki Kusuo knew very well that if the Mizukage had not prepared in advance, the two of them would never have received so many attacks. But until now, the Mizukage still hadn't defeated an opponent that Hitaki Kusuo was interested in. Even if the Mizukage took action personally, Hitaki Kusuo might not take her seriously. I want to train you well this time. Do you have the confidence to kill the Mizukage with me? Hitaki Kusuo looked at Shari with a serious face, and Shari nodded blankly. Since everything is ready, let's set off quickly. By now, Shari's body has almost recovered. Although Shari's physical injuries have not fully recovered, the chakra in Shari's body has recovered a little. Shari and Hitaki Kusuo immediately rushed to a nearby hidden direction. Master Hitaki Kusuo, could it be that our actions this time have been exposed by others? Shari's eyes saw that Hitaki Kusuo was very nervous. But this matter was definitely not revealed by me. Since I knew that we were going to act together, I never told anyone about this action. 0 Please give flowers. Hitaki Kusuo was stunned when he heard what Shari said, and then smiled slightly. Of course I know that this matter has nothing to do with you. Based on Hitaki Kusuo's understanding of Shari, Shari would never choose to betray herself. But now, our actions have been revealed by someone. Who could it be? Shari rarely left her village at the beginning. It was a very difficult task to perform, and it had never been revealed by anyone. 0. We still need to investigate this matter. If we find out the results, someone will come to tell me. Is it the person we met before? After saying this, Shari immediately regretted it. During the time when Shari and Hitaki Kusuo had broken up, she often saw Kuroko and his friends. And she heard from Hitaki Kusuo that the Demon Slayer core the names. Shari knew in his heart that these people must have an inseparable relationship with the Demon Slayer core. Okay, you don't have to worry about these things for the time being. But Lord Hitaki Kusuo, shouldn't we check who leaked it first? But Hitaki Kusuo shook his head. This mission was also the news that Kuroko got from Konoha village, and then told me. If this news was really leaked by someone, it must be some high-level people in the village. Hitaki Kusuo knew very well in his heart that although his current strength was very strong. But Hinata and Shion were still in the village after all. The most important thing was that Hinata's Hyuga clan was now under the protection of Konoha village. Chapter 259. But if you really want to find who is the inner ghost. With Hitaki Kusuo's understanding of the original work, this person is not that difficult to find. Lord Hitaki Kusuo, do you know who betrayed us? Shari turned his head and glanced at Hitaki Kusuo. Hitaki Kusuo remained silent. If you are not comfortable with it, tell me and I will help you. After saying this, Shari smiled knowingly at Hitaki Kusuo. But Hitaki Kusuo did not respond. Hitaki Kusuo just looked at Shari meaningfully. The core of Shari has been fully demonstrated. But Hitaki Kusuo could not let Shari take risks so easily. It is not easy for Shari to survive on the battlefield alone with his current strength. Don't think about these things for now. I will take you there when the time is right. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari stuck out her tongue with dissatisfaction. Okay, let's rest here first. Hitaki Kusuo found a relatively hidden cave. Shari did not refuse and followed Hitaki Kusuo into the cave directly. You should recover your chakra here first. We will go after you adjust your condition. Shari waved his hands repeatedly. It's not necessary, Master Hitaki Kusuo. Shari really didn't want to hinder Hitaki Kusuo often. It's nothing. You should recover your chakra first. There are too many teams outside at this time. It's not very convenient to take you with you. Shari sat in meditation with a dissatisfied look on his face and began to recover his chakra. But Shari's dissatisfaction was directed at his weak strength. After the previous battles, although Shari showed very strong strength in each battle, the person who really played a crucial role was Hitaki Kusuo. Shari also hoped that he could show strength similar to Hitaki Kusuo in the battle. Don't talk, Someone is coming outside. Hitaki Kusuo knew very well that the people who came to patrol this time were almost carpet patrolling. Besides, the goal of these people is not to kill Kusuo Hitaki and the others, but to find their location. Kusuo Hitaki didn't know what kind of opponent he was about to face. Orochimaru has learned the impure world reincarnation. Maybe he will revive the other ninjas at some point. And Orochimaru and Mizukage are colluding with each other, and it is unknown what actions they are planning. Shari sat down and began to rest his injuries. Kusuo Hitaki carefully observed the changes in Shari's body. I really didn't expect Shing to be able to transform a person's body into what it is now. Through Kusuo Hitaki's observation, it can be clearly felt that Shari's body is not only recovering chakra, but all injuries are also recovering. Until a few hours later, Shari slowly opened his eyes. Master Kusuo Hitaki, my injuries have all recovered, and we can move on now. In Shari's heart, the first thing to complete is Kusuo Hitaki's mission this time. I thought Kusuo Hitaki would get up and leave, but I didn't expect Kusuo Hitaki to just shake his head. Not yet, your injuries haven't recovered yet. 0. Kusuo Hitaki can directly and clearly feel the problem of Shari's body through his own conflict. Although all injuries and chakras have been restored perfectly. But at this moment, the meridians in Shari's body are still damaged. And most of the damage is caused by the injury of the previous pregnancy. Do you know why his flames still hurt yourself? Kusuo Hitaki has been thinking in his heart, how to help Shari get rid of this problem. Kusuo Hitaki, but I can go out and clear the spies around here now. Shari just suddenly opened her peacock magic. Naturally, she also found that outside the cave where they were hiding, there were many Anbu ninjas searching for them. Don't go out for now. It's better for us to hide here for a while. Although your body has almost recovered, your current strength is not enough to face so many Anbu alone. Hitaki Kusuo knew that although Shari's strength was very strong, after all, these people have also undergone a long period of training. Once they encounter a problem, their ability to cooperate with each other is beyond Shari's imagination. If Shari rushes out rashly, he will definitely be hurt. The Anbu outside are not only searching for us, but some of them are also responsible for delivering messages to Shui Zhiguo. If your figure is exposed outside, you must kill them here as soon as possible. Many of them have reached the level of elite superiors. Do you have the confidence to kill them before they deliver the message? Chapter 260. After hearing these words from Hitaki Kusuo, Shari lowered his head. In fact, Hitaki Kusuo had long known what Shari was thinking, and naturally found a good reason to stop Shari. The Anbu of each village naturally has their own meaning of existence. You must not underestimate their strength. Hitaki Kusuo knew that Shari had also gained a lot of benefits in the battle with Muri Shinpachi just now, and Shari was naturally a little proud at this moment. I think with my current strength, I should be able to try it on the battlefield. If I meet someone as strong as Muri Jinpachi again, I will definitely be able to get rid of him. Hitaki Kusuo stretched out his hand and pulled out the knife he had just taken. I'm going to use my knife on you now. If you can react, I'll let you go out and have a look. 06. Natsui's eyes immediately stared at Hitaki Kusuo. Natsui knew very well in his heart that Hitaki Kusuo would never hurt him. Just as Natsui's eyes were fixed on Hitaki Kusuo, a strand of hair fell from Natsui's forehead. Hitaki Kusuo's body seemed to shake slightly, but his body was still sitting there and moving. But even so, there was indeed a strand of hair on Natsui's forehead that was cut off. You also saw the knife just now. I didn't use any skills or ninjutsu. I just swung it casually. This time, Shari finally understood why so many people had no ability to fight back when facing Kusuo Hitaki. At the same time, Shari could also determine how Kusuo Hitaki could stand at the top of the 5 major countries. So my strength is too weak. Or should I practice more? Shari looked at his hands tremblingly. In fact, Shari had tried his best in the previous practice. But his body couldn't exert stronger power. It's not because you haven't practiced enough, but because you lack practical experience. Kusuo Hatake pulled out a shuriken from the weapon bag behind him and placed it in front of Shari. Just like the action I just pulled out the shuriken. If it were you, what would you do? After Kusuo Hatake finished speaking, Shari looked up and found that a shuriken had been placed in front of him. In an instant, Shari immediately found the gap between himself and Kusuo Hatake. So it's because I have practiced for too short a time, right? Faced with Shari's questioning, Kusuo Hatake shook his head gently. I have just explained it to you. It's not that you haven't practiced enough, but because you don't have enough experience. For example, the simple action just now can only improve the speed of drawing the sword through day after day of practice. However, the best place for you to train is the real battlefield. Kusuo Hatake knew very well what state Shari was in when facing the enemy. This time, Shari lowered his head and said nothing. I saw you use the chakra of fire escape before. This chakra should be something you have never used before, right? Shari just nodded and didn't speak. Kusuo Hatake continued to ask. So when you used those chakras, you couldn't control them at first, and only later did you barely control the power of these fires, right? Shari nodded again, but this time Shari looked up at Kusuo Hatake. I have never used fire chakra before because they said I was like a monster. Hatake Kusuo frowned, not understanding what Shari meant. When I use fire shield chakra, if I can store it for a long time, the power I exert will become stronger. And as time goes by, the fire chakra in my body will naturally recover as before. Hatake Kusuo was not surprised by this sentence. After all, Shari's body has been sexually modified and is completely different from a normal person's body. Your best chance is right in front of you. Our mission this time is a very important training for you. If you can complete this task with your own strength during this training, your strength will be greatly improved. Shari believes in Hatake Kusuo's advice. In the previous duel with Muri Shinpachi, Shari has already improved a lot of skills in using fire chakra. If given time, Shari will definitely make earth-shaking changes in this aspect. We will hide here for a day today. You should adjust your meridian problem, and we will set off again tomorrow. After the voice fell, Kusuo Hatake closed his eyes and began to practice his strength. And Shari stretched out his hand, took out 2 marching rations and threw them into his mouth. Shari's strength is not like Kusuo Hatake, who can go without food for several days and nights. Chapter 261. Shari looked at the explosive knife flying foam on the ground. This explosive knife flying foam is different from all the ninja tools he has seen before. Not only the sharpness, but also the scroll full of detonating talismans on it is also very novel to Shari. But Shari immediately looked down at his hands. The flame device chakra in Shari's body has been released a lot at this time. But it is much more difficult to control than the power of the star before. It seems that what Lord Kusuo Hatake said is right. I really should train more so that I can improve my strength. Shari knew very well in his heart that if he wanted to improve his strength, he must train more. Although the mission this time seems very difficult, every time Hatake Kusuo encounters a crisis, he will take the initiative to help. Having such a strong man to protect him, Shari naturally hopes to cherish this opportunity. The night gradually deepened, and a figure appeared outside. Although Shari had sensed the existence of a person at this moment, Shari's strength was not enough for Shari to feel the precise location of the other party. However, Hatake Kusuo easily captured the other party's existence through the transparent world in his body. From the beheading sword Hatake Kusuo carried by that person, it can be clearly felt that this person must be Biwajuzo. The last person who used the beheading sword Momochi Zabuza is dead. Since Orochimaru has used the impure world reincarnation to revive all these people, then Orochimaru will definitely collect all these weapons together through his own means. I really don't know what you are going to do Diaresis. Hatake Kusuo also has a little understanding of Orochimaru's strength. In the original work, Orochimaru opened the triple Rashomon with his own strength. With such strength, Orochimaru naturally lacked the opportunity to truly demonstrate it. Not long after, Kusuo Hatake felt the atmosphere of some Anbu ninjas fighting each other outside. When Kusuo Hitaki felt it carefully, he found that some people from the rock village were fighting with people from the water country. Why are these people fighting together? Although Kusuo Hitaki was a little surprised, he did not step forward to ask the reason. Suddenly, a familiar figure appeared at the entrance of the cave. Kusuo Hitaki was stunned at first, but still let him in. How did you find this place? The person who came was none other than Kuroko. Kuroko first walked a mile towards Kusuo Hitaki, and then immediately handed over a scroll in his hand. What is this? Kusuo Hitaki did not take the scroll. We got the news from some channels that you are going to kill the Mizukage. How did you know? It was not Hitaki Kusuo who spoke, but Shari. If they can get their goal through these people, it means that this operation must have been exposed. Although Kuroko had handed this task to Hitaki Kusuo before. But Kuroko did not check the details of the task when he handed it over. We also have some special channels of our own, so we can find out some information. Kuroko said bluntly. Master Hitaki Kusuo, do you have any plans now? If so, our Demon Slayer Corps can rush over immediately. Kuroko also knew how strict the hand position outside was. If it weren't for Hitaki Kusuo's outdoor Kuroko, he would never be able to find this place easily. In the near future, the Land of Water will definitely increase its defense force, but I believe it won't take long. If they do, their forces will be lax. Then it will be time to kill the Mizukage. Hitaki Kusuo's eyes were very cold. But Shari, who was standing by, looked at Hitaki Kusuo with some doubts after hearing this. Master Hitaki Kusuo, do we have to wait in this cave forever? Hitaki Kusuo nodded. During the time we are hiding here, I hope you can improve your own strength. And with your current strength, if you meet any elite ninja one-on-one, it is estimated that the opponent will not be your opponent. After hearing Hitaki Kusuo's praise, Shari looked at his hands with an unconfident look. But money, I think my strength is still very average now. It would be great if I could have the opportunity to experiment again. Shari also hoped to meet an opponent similar to the last time again, but unexpectedly, Kusuo Hitaki beside him smiled straight. Don't worry, the person in your heart has appeared now. This person's name is Biwa Juzo. I think Kuroko should have seen his strength. Kuroko's pupils tightened. This person called Biwa Juzo has indeed been resurrected. And on the way over, Kuroko had already seen his strength. Especially the one in his hand of beheading sword. In Biwa Juzo's hands, it was a perfect match. Chapter 262. At this moment, outside the cave where they were hiding, a fierce battle was taking place. A group of Iwagakure ninjas were fighting with the mist ninjas led by Biwa Juzo. I saw Ying waving a beheading sword in his hand, and he chopped off the head of an Iwagakure ninja with one sword. Is this the man? Shari blinked and glanced at Hitaki Kusuo beside him. Hitaki Kusuo looked serious and just nodded slightly. It just so happens that you have the opportunity to see his strength first, so that you will not have no experience when dealing with him. In the previous battle, Hitaki Kusuo suffered a lot because he did not understand the opponent's habit of attacking. Lord Kusuo, is it too difficult for Shari to be handed over to such an opponent? Hitaki Kusuo glanced at Shari and said to Kuroko meaningfully. This is unnecessary for you to consider. I hope you can learn some new combat ninjutsu from Shari in the future. After hearing this, Kuroko immediately widened his eyes. Today, the strength of the Demon Slayer Corps is not very weak. Even if they encounter ordinary Anbu ninjas or guards beside the Hokage, the Demon Slayer Corps can easily kill them. Under such a practical comparison, Shari can actually teach them. Kuroko glanced at Shari again, but this time his eyes were full of respect and suspicion. To be able to get such a word from Hitaki Kusuo, it means that Shari must have her own merits. But no matter how he felt, Kuroko felt that Shari now, even if he played a Shari card with himself, would not have much chance of winning. I don't know why Lord Hitaki Kusuo would choose such a person to teach them how to fight in the Demon Slayer Corps. How is the progress of Moriki Ibiki? Hitaki Kusuo asked. Kuroko knelt on one knee when he heard it. Report to Lord Hitaki Kusuo, we have made very smooth progress in recent times. We have also received all the information about the other tailed beasts, and we are now in the process of verifying these information. If nothing goes wrong, it won't take long for us to extract all the kaka of those tailed beasts. After hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo nodded with satisfaction. Not bad. In that case, then you stay here first. There are some things I need you to help me deal with. Facing Kuroko's doubts, Hitaki Kusuo just glanced at Biwajuzo outside. Kuroko immediately took a breath, but still didn't dare to say much. After all, this was the task assigned to him by Hitaki Kusuo, and he knew very well what the consequences would be if he didn't complete it. I won't let you do it alone. Shari will help you. You just need to be her assistant. After hearing this, the child was a little dissatisfied, but also very surprised. Like Shari's current situation, no matter how you look at it, her fighting ability seems to be very average. Once a real fight happens, especially when she encounters an opponent like Biwajuzo, it is unknown what kind of fighting power Shari can exert. You can observe the opponent's moves carefully first. Looking at Shari's dull face, Hitaki Kusuo immediately stepped forward to give her instructions. Shari's eyes came back to her senses. It turned out that Biwajuzo's speed of attack was much faster than that of the previous guy. And this beheading sword was wielded very fluently. Compared to the previous Muri Shinpachi, it is unknown how many times stronger. If you were asked to deal with him now, would you have the confidence? Shari hesitated unexpectedly. What weapon is this person using? It's as rare as the one used by the previous person. How come I've never seen it before? If I know something about this weapon, maybe I can have the confidence to kill him. This time, Shari is more cautious than last time. Last time, Shari suffered a lot from the knife used by the opponent. Seeing this question, Hitaki Kusuo immediately nodded with satisfaction. Very good, you can think of this problem in such a short time. Hitaki Kusuo didn't expect Shari's progress to be relatively fast. The weapon used by this person is called the beheading sword. And this person's strength is also very strong. You can take a closer look. After Hitaki Kusuo finished speaking, Biwajuzo took the beheading sword and killed a ninja with one sword. The beheading sword in Biwajuzo's hand began to greedily absorb the opponent's blood. And Biwajuzo's face showed a satisfied expression. You can also see that this is the power of this sword. After seeing this scene, Shari was a little nervous. Chapter 263. Because Shari had just seen that there were some mottled scars on this beheading sword. But these scars absorbed the opponent's blood in battles again and again, and thus recovered perfectly. The monkey had seen many ninjas before. It has the ability to self-recover, but it is the first time that Shari has seen a weapon that can self-recover. But only Hitaki Kusuo knows that this beheading sword is not the strongest among the 7 swords. The strongest one should be the sword Samahata. It's just that at this time, Hitaki Kusuo regretted it a little. If he had brought this sword with him when he killed Kisame, it would have been better. It's a pity that Hitaki Kusuo didn't think of this at that time. Because Hitaki Kusuo suddenly recalled that even the hair tail in the cylinder was suppressed by the coking machine used by the rail transit. This sword should be the strongest sword I have seen since I was a child. After hearing Shari's words, Hitaki Kusuo waved his hands repeatedly. That's not the case. If we talk about the strongest, this beheading sword is not the strongest, but it is indeed the best in terms of recovery ability. Hitaki Kusuo knew very well that even if the beheading sword was broken into several pieces, as long as enough people were killed, the beheading sword could still be restored to its original state. If Shari were to meet such an opponent with his current strength, he would probably need some effort to win. Let's go back first. If we continue to watch here, we might be discovered. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari hurriedly walked deeper into the cave. With Hitaki Kusuo's strength, he was not worried about meeting Biwajuzo. It was because Hitaki Kusuo hoped that Shari could improve his strength through these battles. You have seen some moves that should be used before. Now you should start preparing for how to deal with him. Shari only understood now. It turned out that the main purpose of the battle that Kusuo Hitaki had just brought her to observe was to let Taozi better understand the way Biwajuzo attacked. Shari immediately began to recall everything she had just seen over and over again. It was not until about 3 days later that Shari slowly opened her eyes. When Shari just opened her eyes, she found Kusuo Hitaki and Kuroko, who were standing in front of her. "Are you awake?" Kusuo Hitaki looked at Shari calmly. "If we have rested enough, we should prepare to go out to fight the enemy." After hearing this, Shari was stunned at first, and Kuroko beside her quickly explained. "During the few days of training, we have been hit by the opponent's chicken. In fact, this shandong was prepared for us early in the morning. It was also Hitaki Kusuo who discovered the mechanism in this cave." Shari's hands clenched tightly together and a shuriken instantly appeared in Shari's hands. This time Shari's speed of attack was very fast. "Not bad, you are much faster than you were a few days ago." Hitaki Kusuo was quite satisfied with Shari's progress in the past few days. "In fact, in the past few days, we have been trapped in a barrier designed by the other party. Zero, please give me flowers." After hearing what Kuroko said, Hitaki Kusuo nodded. In fact, at that time, it was because Hitaki Kusuo used the transparent world in his body to check Shari's physical condition. But at that time, Hitaki Kusuo unexpectedly discovered that there was a trace of subtle chakra in the entire cave. Following this extremely subtle chakra, he secretly discovered that the cave they were in had been set up with traps in advance. As for how far this trap can go, I don't know. Hitaki Kusuo shrugged helplessly and didn't want to say anything more. After all, it was still unknown whether the trap they were in would monitor their things or absorb their chakra. So of course, Kusuo Hitaki has made preparations. We are now ready to take the initiative and rush out of this place in advance. Shari also nodded and quickly tightened the shuriken in his hand. Although Shari had practiced for a few days, he did not feel hungry because his strength had improved to a certain extent. At this time, Kusuo Hitaki unexpectedly discovered that the entire barrier had begun to undergo some subtle changes. It seems that the other party can't wait any longer. Let's get out quickly. Just when the barrier was about to reach the three of them, Kusuo Hitaki picked up the knife in his hand and swung it straight ahead. Instantly, the scene in front of them was like a thin ice breaking. Chapter 264. A strong chakra instantly rushed into the entire cave. It's really not easy. I didn't expect you to be able to find the barrier I set up here. The leader turned out to be Biwajuzo. Although Hitaki Kusuo didn't know much about Biwajuzo's ninjutsu before, he could probably guess it through the barrier just now. Once this barrier is completely closed, they are likely to be controlled here and unable to leave. Anyway, can you come from? It's not important to leave now. You have only one way to die. Biwajuzo swung the beheading sword in his hand towards the few people. In an instant, a deep gully appeared in the cave around the few people. Hitaki Kusuo was a little surprised to see this scene. In the original work, Biwajuzo had never used such a strong force. Hitaki Kusuo closed his eyes and carefully observed Biwajuzo's body. Sure enough, there were two chakras behind Biwajuzo. It was only through these two different chakras that Hitaki Kusuo could clearly feel that Biwajuzo's strength had changed to a certain extent. Who of you three will start now? I can send you three to death one by one. Biwajuzo smiled evilly and stabbed the beheading sword in his hand fiercely into the ground. Are you ready? Hitaki Kusuo took a look, and Shari put away the knife in his hand at the same time. The strength of Biwajuzo is not enough for Hitaki Kusuo, and there is no need for him to attack. Don't worry, Master Hitaki Kusuo, I will never let you down this time. After the voice fell, a detonating tag flew out of Shari's hand in an instant. The detonating tag hit Biwajuzo directly in front of him. Biwajuzo's figure was blown back several steps. At the same time, an extremely huge deep pit appeared on the ground. Seeing the attack power of this detonating tag, several people around looked at Shari with surprise. I'm sorry. Master Hitaki Kusuo, I also wanted to enhance the power of this detonating tag before, but I didn't expect that I couldn't control it well in the end. But Kusuo Hitaki didn't mean to blame Shari. The faster Shari's strength improved, the better news it was for Kusuo Hitaki. In fact, Shari's evolution in this attack was also due to the experience gained from the last battle. In the last battle, Shari suffered a lot in this regard. Naturally, he also knew that if a large number of detonating tags were put together, the strength they exerted would be very strong. After this attack, the eyes of Biwa Juzo in front of him became much more cautious. Biwa Juzo is best at close-range attacks, and he is not good at this kind of long-range attack. Just when Biwa Juzo was about to rush towards Shari, the two shurikens in Shari's hands flew out again in an instant and stabbed Biwa Juzo. Detonating talisman. Explosion. Two loud bangs followed by a burst of smoke that instantly filled the entire cave. Two detonating tags instantly blew Biwa Juzo out again. It seems that you don't have any other abilities except throwing some things. After waiting for the smoke to gradually dissipate, Biwa Juzo learned to be smarter this time and did not attack directly zero. Instead, several more ninjas from the Anbu immediately appeared beside him. It seems that they should have been prepared a long time ago. If you don't get rid of them quickly, their essay-collecting troops will probably come over. After hearing the reminder from Hitaki Kusuo, Shari immediately took action. Peacock Magic. Open. Instantly, two wings appeared behind Shari, and the distance between Shari and Biwa Juzo was once again pulled apart. And Shari's eyes instantly noticed that they were holding a scroll in their hands. Master Hitaki Kusuo and the others seemed to have taken something from us. After hearing what Shari said, Hitaki Kusuo looked up. This scroll looks like a border defense map of their land of fire. It seems that Orochimaru and the Mizukage must have colluded with each other and are ready to take action at any time. Thinking of this, Hitaki Kusuo clenched his fists. Hitaki Kusuo was just about to take action himself to get rid of all these people, but suddenly saw Shari fighting hard on the side, and Hitaki Kusuo let go of his hand again. It would be good if Shari could improve his strength in normal battles. Since you are going to fight me to the death, there is no need for you to leave this place today. Biwa Juzang immediately swung the beheading sword in his hand, and the beheading sword came towards the three people with a tyrannical force. Peacock Magic. Defense. A protective shield transformed from chakra instantly appeared in front of the three people. Chapter 265. But what Shari didn't expect was that the protective shield he set up was broken in just a moment under the space of Biwa Juzo. The strong wind brought by the blade instantly began to block the few people. Shari could clearly feel the strength of this attack. If this knife really hit him, although it would not be fatal, it would be enough to cause some serious injuries to the three of them. After thinking of this, Shari immediately flashed and appeared in front of Hitaki Kusuo. Just when Shari was about to bear all the attacks for Hitaki Kusuo, a figure appeared in front of Shari. With a loud bang, all the attacks were resolved. Be careful next time. I have helped you solve it this time. 06. Hearing after saying this, Taozi immediately turned around and blinked in surprise. It turned out that the person who had just attacked was Hitsi. I'm so sorry that I brought such a big trouble to you too. Shari suddenly felt a little guilty. It was him who said he would solve it today. Shari brought such a big crisis to the two of them. But Biwa Juzang, who saw the scene just now, raised a wicked smile at the corner of his mouth. It seems that you can no longer resist my attack. In this case, let me see how you attack next time. After the voice fell, Biwa Juzang immediately chopped at Shari a few more times. Biwa Juzang chopped very hard these few times, and it was difficult for Shari to withstand these attacks with his strength. Peacock Magic. Open. In an instant, Shari's body was burning with a strong flame. Hitsi, who was standing aside, was surprised to see Shari's reaction. That's why I asked you guys to practice with Shari in the future. Kuroko couldn't react for a while even after hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said. Before this, Kuroko had already felt the power in Shari's body. Although that power looked extremely mysterious, Kuroko could at least be sure that the amount of chakra in Shari's body was not so huge. But now the amount of chakra used by Shari has almost reached the level of Kage. I see, it seems that I really have a lot to learn. Kuroko was very humble. Peacock magic. Defense. This time, in front of Shari and the other two, a shield condensed with rocket chakra appeared again. But unlike just now, this time the shield took on several attacks. And there was almost no scar on the shield. After seeing this scene, Biwa Juzo's eyes tightened immediately. It seems that I really need to use some real skills to fight you. Two shurikens appeared on Shari's left and right in an instant. Shari calmly stretched out his hand to block, but when Shari was about to stretch out his hand, a figure appeared behind Shari. Go to hell. Biwa Juzo took the beheading sword in his hand and swung it towards Shari's head. At this time, Shari had not reacted for a while. But the chakras beside Shari immediately formed a shield, which completely removed Biwa Juzo's attack. Seeing that this attack failed, Biwa Juzo's face did not show a trace of loss, but some excitement. It seems that you are really an interesting experimental subject. Just after hearing Biwa Juzo's words, Hitaki Kusuo could immediately determine that the person who was manipulating Biwa Juzo behind the scenes must be Orochimaru. This way of speaking is exactly the same as the way Orochimaru usually speaks. It's just that all the injuries suffered by Biwa Juzo's body will be fully restored in a very short time. Hitaki Kusuo thought for a long time, but he didn't expect which medical ninja this Orochimaru would find to help. But it's meaningless to find the identity of this person at this time. Detonating talisman. Explode. After a loud bang, Biwa Juzo and Shari's lover's body were blown away again. Although Shari had a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth at this time, which seemed a little embarrassed, Biwa Juzo in front of him didn't get any benefits. Under the attack of the detonating talisman just now, Biwa Juzo's body was blown out with a huge wound. Don't be happy too early, his strength is just better than that guy just now. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari's eyes suddenly became nervous. As expected, right in front of them, the wounds on Biwa Juzo's body had begun to recover gradually. How could it be like this? Kuroko looked at Hitaki Kusuo and Shari in shock. If he can't be killed before he recovers, his vitality is almost unlimited. Chapter 266. Hitaki Kusuo can clearly feel the two chakra threads behind Biwa Juzo using his transparent world. These two chakra lines bring endless benefits to Biwa Juzo. Not only when he is injured, through these two chakra lines, the damage to his body will be completely recovered. And when Biwa Juzo lacks chakra in his body, these two chakra lines can also infuse the chakra that Biwa Juzo needs into his body. Biwa Juzo sneered, and immediately swung the beheading sword in his hand and chopped towards Shari's vital point. After several setbacks, Biwa Juzo was furious this time, and the sword he swung was enough to bring up a strong wind in the entire cave. After the sword was slashed, the Anbu ninjas around Biwa Juzo were all delighted. It seems that Lord Biwa Juzo has succeeded. However, Biwa Juzo also looked proud. You guys clean up the battlefield here in a while, and I will take my spoils back myself. Although the current Biwa Juzo was reborn through the impure world reincarnation newly summoned. But the arrogant aura of Biwa Juzo still remains. Yes, Lord Biwa Juzo. Several Anbu saluted Biwa Juzo respectfully. However, this person did not expect it. Just when rushing through the fog in the cave, under the leadership of Biwa Juzo, Shari and Kuroko had already fled outside. Sorry, Lord Hitaki Kusuo, I disappoint you again this time diaresis. Shari looked at Hitaki Kusuo and Hitaki Kusuo with a comfortable look, but waved his hand without any taboo. It doesn't matter, like his strength, you really can't beat him in your current situation. After saying this, Hitaki Kusuo began to think seriously. The strength that Hitaki Kusuo just felt from Biwa Juzo was something he had never felt before. This time, although Biwa Juzo's combat power has been greatly improved, and his ability to recover is much stronger than before. Hitaki Kusuo once tried to track these chakra lines through his transparent world. But each chakra line appeared from the ground and then disappeared completely. This thing is really passed down by Chio. It's really not an easy thing to deal with. Thinking of this, Hitaki Kusuo clenched his fists tightly. Master Hitaki Kusuo, what should we do now? Are we going to run away from this place directly? As soon as Kuroko finished speaking, Shari punched Kuroko on the head. Master Hitaki Kusuo will never choose to run away. Hitaki Kusuo was a little surprised after hearing this. Although Biwa Juzo has not been with him for a long time, Biwa Juzo can indeed clearly feel his center, Hitaki Kusuo. We are just going to change to a new place to encircle them. This place is not perfect. Hitaki Kusuo knew very well that there were all kinds of Anbu ninjas around the place where they were. And when Hitaki Kusuo saw the defense map of the Land of Fire, Hitaki Kusuo had thought that their goal this time was definitely not as simple as he imagined. Shari must adjust your body again. I will take you to find Biwa Juzo now. This time we have to take the initiative. Biwa Juzo nodded after hearing this, although he was a little nervous. Don't worry, Master Hitaki Kusuo, I will definitely complete this mission well. Shari himself has failed to complete the mission one after another, and Shari himself is very guilty. When Shari thought of every time he failed in a mission, he wanted to stab himself twice. When Shari thought of Biwa Juzo's strength just now, he immediately clenched his fists tightly. It seems that I will never let you escape again this time. After saying this, Shari immediately relaxed. Although Kusuo Hitaki did not look at Shari directly, the changes in Shari's body were completely discovered by Kusuo Hitaki. At this moment, Biwa Juzo was walking back with several ninjas. There were a few swoosh sounds. Kuroko threw out a few shurikens and immediately stabbed all the Anbu ninjas around Biwa Juzo to death. Hurry up and do it now. Kuroko immediately reminded Shari, and Shari quickly took action with Kuroko's cooperation. Fire escape. Fire Dragon Bullet Technique. A huge fireball instantly hit Biwa Juzo's body, but Biwa Juzo calmly picked up the beheading sword in his hand to block it. So you're not dead yet. With your mediocre skills, you dare to sneak attack me from behind. After a loud bang, the beheading sword knocked down all the flames. Since you're looking for death, don't blame me. Chapter 267. When Kuroko discovered Shari's strength, he immediately wanted to communicate with Shari. Not yet, just watch here. Hitaki Kusuo has discovered through his transparent world that Biwa Juzo has now burst his strength to the limit. Biwa Juzo not only has very fast movement, but also this attack also carries a trace of strong chakra. Water escape. Water Dragon Bullet Technique. A huge water dragon bullet suddenly hit Shari. Fire escape. Fire Dragon Bullet Technique. Water and fire collided instantly, making a hissing sound. This is the first time I've seen such a scene. It's a bit too shocking. Kuroko looked at the scene in front of him with a shocked face. However, Kusuo Hitaki stared at Shari and Biwa Juzo nervously. The collision of water escape and fire escape. This is a competition of chakra. Kusuo Hitaki quickly closed his eyes. In the transparent world, Kusuo Hitaki clearly felt that Biwa Juzo's body had begun to gradually replenish chakra. However, Shari's body did not strengthen at all. The chakra in the body had begun to gradually disappear. Kusuo Hitaki unexpectedly discovered that the star fragments that had originally remained in Shari's body had begun to gradually absorb Biwa Juzo's chakra. This time Shari is really in trouble. Kuroko looked at Shari with a worried look. But without Kusuo Hitaki's order, Kuroko couldn't save people himself. Shari gritted her teeth. Although the chakra in her body had begun to recover gradually. But the process of absorbing the stars was a bit difficult. Shari's forehead had already left a trace of sweat. Hitaki Kusuo stared at Shari, carefully observing the changes in Shari's body. Master Hitaki Kusuo. Kuroko glanced at Hitaki Kusuo. Although Kuroko had to obey Hitaki Kusuo's orders. But now, Kuroko was indeed a little worried about Shari. If there is a problem, I will do it myself. Hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Kuroko looked at Hitaki Kusuo with a surprised look. After such a long time, except for Hinata-sama, Kuroko rarely saw Hitaki Kusuo take action for anyone. It seems that Shari is also a very important existence in Hitaki Kusuo's eyes. After you get this ninja sword, go back and help me look after Hinata. Hitaki Kusuo has not returned to the land of fire for a long time. Hitaki Kusuo does not know about Hinata's recent situation. Yes, Master Hitaki Kusuo. Kuroko answered immediately. The two immediately looked at the battle between Shari and Biwajuzo. The big competition between the two has ended. Biwajuzo and Shari retreated at the same time. After this competition, the two fought evenly. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Shari and praised her performance this time. The strength shown by Shari last time was far less than now. After these battles, Shari has improved her own strength a lot. Little girl. Let me see what tricks you have. At this moment, the beheading sword in Biwajuzo's hand has been restored to its original state. Only Shari is left standing opposite. I didn't expect that Biwajuzo would be so difficult to deal with. Kuroko looked at Shari with a worried look on his face. Are you worried about Shari? Hitaki Kusuo looked at Kuroko with a puzzled look. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Kuroko's face flushed twice. No. Looking at Kuroko's look, Hitaki Kusuo just raised his eyebrows and didn't say much. You dared to kill Muri Shinpachi. Come on. Biwajuzo's eyes burst out with a strong murderous intent. Water escape. Water. When Biwajuzo just opened his mouth, Shari had already rushed directly behind Biwajuzo. The sword blade transformed by chakra stabbed out in just an instant. With the previous experience, Shari did not leave him any time to perform ninjutsu this time. Asshole. With a swoosh, Shari's sword pierced Biwajuzo's body directly. Biwajuzo covered his chest, and blood continued to flow out of the wound. But Biwajuzo was not afraid at all. His eyes were still fixed on the front. Woman, you must die today. As soon as the words fell, the beheading sword was instantly swung towards Shari's head. Even if Kuroko encountered this attack, he could only rely on the attack to resist. But Shari remained calm in the face of danger. After the battle just now, Shari had already found Biwajuzo's weakness. Biwajuzo's attack this time was from top to bottom. So Shari immediately swung the chakra blade in his hand and stabbed Biwajuzo's chest. Since Shari's attack speed was much faster than Biwajuzo's, Shari hit Biwajuzo first this time. Because his chest was seriously injured, Biwajuzo's body was shaking constantly. Chapter 268. I didn't expect that you could come up with such a way to resist. Kuroko also looked at Shari with a shocked face. The woman in front of him looked very thin, but he didn't expect that she could have such a fierce consciousness. And every time she started to fight, she was not afraid at all. If the Demon Slayer Corps has another person like this to teach them combat skills from today, the combat strength of the Demon Slayer Corps will be greatly improved. Although Shari's combat strength is amazing, the skills used by Shari in combat are not as skilled as those used by Hitaki Kusuo. After hearing what Kuroko said, Hitaki Kusuo nodded. Although Shari's moves were very crucial and her attack speed was very fast. However, all of Shari's battles relied on her combat experience and the strength brought to her by the peacock magic. If Shari also began to learn the breathing law, her strength would definitely improve a lot. I asked Shari to come and teach you, not to let you laugh at Shari's weak strength, but to hope that you can learn more from Shari and learn some of the skills Shari used in combat. Just as the two were talking, Biwajuzo and Shari's next battle broke out again. The beheading sword in Biwajuzo's hand cut through the air and chopped directly towards Shari's body. In the previous few battles, Hitaki Kusuo had already discovered Shari's weakness. Although Shari was relatively strong and had practiced the peacock magic. However, Biwajuzo had finished there was a beheading sword in his hand. But Shari had no other weapons except the shuriken. I'll give this to you, take it. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari looked back. Hitaki Kusuo directly threw the explosive sword Famo in his hand to Shari. Shari stretched out a hand and caught the explosive sword Famo directly. Take this thing will improve your strength. As for how to use it, you should know it. Shari had personally taken the explosive sword Famo from Muri Shinpachi before. So Shari was very familiar with the use of explosive sword Famo. You dare to use such a thing against me? Biwa Juzo looked at Shari with murderous eyes. Explosive sword Famo. This is Muri Shinpachi's weapon. I must kill you today and help Muri Shinpachi get revenge. After a roar, Biwa Juzo rushed over waving the beheading sword in his hand. Explosive sword technique. Explode. Shari immediately aimed the other end of the blade at Biwa Juzang. At the moment when Biwa Juzang's beheading sword chopped over, countless detonating tags instantly blew Biwa Juzang's body away. Asshole. Biwa Juzang gnashed his teeth and roared. But his body still retreated uncontrollably. After this battle, the beheading sword in Biwa Juzang's hand had been blown into several pieces. However, Shari did not suffer any damage. Water style. Water dragon bullet. Biwa Juzang knew very well that the explosive sword flying foam beheading sword used fire chakra. For such a ninjutsu, using water style is the most appropriate. But when Biwa Juzang just read out these words, Shari had already rushed behind Biwa Juzang. Zero, please give me flowers. He didn't have time to use ninjutsu. Explosive sword technique. Explode. This time, Shari used the explosive sword technique directly on Biwa Juzang. Several explosions occurred on Biwa Juzang's body. Water escape. Water dragon wall technique. The powerful explosive force instantly took Biwa Juzang to another direction. Although Biwa Juzang had been blown away, Shari's attack did not stop at all. All of Shari's attacks fell on the water dragon wall. With this gap in this stage, Biwa Juzang was able to recover from his injuries. I didn't expect Shari to be able to burst out with such strength. Even Kuroko was a little surprised by Shari's strength. It seems that this Biwa Juzo can't recover now. It is just as Kuroko said. After Shari's attack just now, Biwa Juzo has no way to recover. However, Hitaki Kusuo can still clearly feel the two chakra lines behind Biwa Juzo through his transparent world, and now he is outputting chakra to Biwa Juzo with all his strength. Pay attention to his body. Hearing Hitaki Kusuo's words, Kuroko immediately looked at Biwa Juzo nervously. Sure enough, this time Biwa Juzo didn't take action for a long time. However, Biwa Juzo's body began to recover gradually. Before, Shari only used one detonating talisman to injure Biwa Juzo's body. This time, the explosive knife Famo attached a series of detonating talismans to Biwa Juzo's body. When Biwa Juzo recovered, Shari, who was standing by, did not rush to take action. Chapter 269. Instead, he stayed in place, doing something in his hands. This Biwa Juzo is so difficult to deal with. Listening to Kuroko's words, Hitaki Kusuo did not say anything. After all, Biwa Juzo was resurrected by Orochimaru using the impure world reincarnation technique. And Chiyo's puppet technique was added. At this moment, Biwa Juzo's strength has far exceeded that of the past. Even, it is already close to the level of Kage. Shari, it seems that you have improved a lot compared to the last time. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Shari with satisfaction. Woman, put down the explosive knife Famo in your hand. I may be able to spare your life. Hearing the voice, Kuroko took a breath of cold air. This man is not dead yet. At this point, even Kuroko is a little afraid of Biwa Juzo's strength. Biwa Juzo's strength is not weak, and he has such a strong recovery ability. If ordinary people encounter him, it will probably take some effort. Hitaki Kusuo unexpectedly discovered that at this time, several Anbu ninjas also rushed over. Moreover, several unknown chakras began to appear in Biwa Juzo's body. It seems that now is the real trouble. Hitaki Kusuo snorted coldly. Even if more enemies came, Hitaki Kusuo was not afraid at all. Even if he met a super shadow-level strongman, Hitaki Kusuo was not worried. However, if there were more reinforcements, Shari's pressure increased a little more. Quick battle, quick decision, he called a lot of reinforcements. Hearing Hitaki Kusuo's words, Shari's eyes tightened. Hitaki Kusuo had already explained before that this mission was mainly for her, So unless you encounter special circumstances, Hitaki Kusuo will never make a move easily. Come on. Biwa Juzo roared and squatted down with the beheading sword in his hand and rushed over. Hitaki Kusuo could clearly feel the power in the beheading sword. It seems that this guy has already used all his strength. Hitaki Kusuo glanced at Shari. But after hearing this, Kuroko on the side had a lot more worries in his eyes. Master Hitaki Kusuo. Just let me go up and help him. Kuroko turned his head and glanced at Hitaki Kusuo, but Hitaki Kusuo did not answer. Biwa Juzo directly threw the beheading sword in his hand towards Shari. After seeing this scene, Hitaki Kusuo was a little surprised. He can actually throw the beheading sword as a throwing weapon. It seems that he should have other plans. Sure enough, when the beheading sword was thrown back, Biwa Juzang immediately used a move. Water escape. Water dragon bullet technique. Instantly, a huge water dragon bullet was thrown over. However, Biwa Juzang's body also rushed in front of Shari with the cooperation of this ninjutsu. When I picked up the explosive knife Famo in my hand and was about to resist, a knife chopped down from top to bottom. Shari immediately picked up the shuriken in his hand and stabbed Biwa Juzang's heart. The detonating tag instantly smashed Biwa Juzang's body to the side. When Shari was about to be proud, a huge water dragon egg hit Shari directly. This guy used the number of people before for this. This time, the person who was surprised became Shari. The main thing is that he can actually use the beheading sword in his hand as a weapon, which is really a bit too wasteful. Kuroko on the side was also a little surprised. Zero. Go up and help Shari first, don't let Shari work too hard. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Kuroko immediately flashed to Shari's side. I will come to help you, and you don't need to thank me. With Kuroko's help, the investment was much easier this time. After the successful sneak attack just now, Biwa Juzo attacked again. But what Jingchun didn't expect was that the short knife in Kuroko's hand immediately blocked his beheading sword. With your mediocre skills, you are not worthy of fighting me. After saying this, he immediately punched Biwa Juzo. Biwa Juzo's body immediately retreated a few steps. A mouthful of blood spurted out of Biwa Juzo's mouth. Biwa Juzo stretched out his hand and stepped on the blood at the corner of his mouth. Kuroko was not surprised by Biwa Juzo's reaction just now, but just raised a scornful smile at the corner of his mouth. I saw that you were quite handy when you threw the things just now. Wait, when I take the weapon from your hand, I will also use it as a throwing weapon. Biwa Juzo frowned immediately after hearing Kuroko's contemptuous words. You'd better not be too arrogant when you speak. If you really anger me, you should know what the consequences will be. Biwa Juzo was naturally fearless when he spoke. After all, there were two chakra lines behind Zhongdao's body, which were outputting power into Biwa Juzo's body. Fire escape. Big fireball technique. Shari immediately used the ninjutsu on Biwa Juzo, but what surprised Shari was that Biwa Juzo did not react at all this time. Chapter 270. Fire escape. Big fireball technique. After hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo immediately looked at Biwa Juzo in surprise. How did this guy, Hitaki Kusuo, learn this ninjutsu? Kuroko immediately blocked this attack. But this time Kuroko was also a little surprised. According to common sense, a ninja rarely knows two or more different types of ninjutsu. Generally speaking, if he can use such strength, then his own strength is close to the level of Kage. However, after Shari encountered this move, he was not worried. Instead, he took out the explosive knife Famo in his hand to block it. You actually used Bakudo Famo as a shield, what a waste. After Biwa Juzo said this, his eyes were full of anger. Although Biwa Juzo was resurrected through the impure world reincarnation. But the Sword 06 was once the weapon used by his teammate. Not only because Biwa Juzo knew very well the strength of Bakudo Famo. It was also because Biwa Juzo thought that such behavior was an insult to himself. The weapons used by you, the 7 ninja swordsmen, can only be used as a shield at most. Shari could also see that Biwa Juzo was very angry now. But when Shari finished this sentence, Biwa-Juzo immediately tightened the beheading sword in his hand and hit the two of them. Peacock Magic. Defense. Just when Kuroko was about to take action, a huge chakra shield appeared in front of the two of them. The peacock magic performed by Shari actually blocked all of Biwa-Juzang's attacks. Biwa-Juzang is very angry now, so the moves he used are completely unruly. It is precisely because Biwa-Juzang now activates the tool, so the techniques used are not in any order. The effect exerted is naturally not as strong as normal combat ability. Now should be the best time to act. After Kuroko said this, he took the lead and rushed over. Shari also rushed out from behind the chakra shield, picked up the explosive knife Famo in his hand, and slashed Biwa-Juzo's body fiercely. Explosive knife technique. Explode. In an instant, a large number of detonating tags all fell on Biwa-Juzo's body. Biwa-Juzo immediately covered his wound and moved to the side. If you want to kill him, now is the best opportunity. Just when Kuroko was about to retreat, he suddenly heard Shari's words. Now Biwa-Juzo's body is seriously injured. If you want to kill Biwa-Juzo directly here, this is the best opportunity. Pay attention to your defense. After hearing what Kuroko said, Shari continued to attack Biwa-Juzo. However, Biwa-Juzo was recovering from his injuries and had no time to resist. If you don't hurry up, Biwa-Juzo's body will recover in a while. After hearing the reminder from Hitaki Kusuo, Daozi immediately accelerated his progress. Explosive sword technique. This time, Shari directly hit Biwa-Juzo with the explosive sword in his hand. Biwa-Juzo was already seriously injured, and now he was attacked twice, which made him even more embarrassed. Woman, if you dare to attack me again. Before Biwa-Juzo finished speaking, Shari immediately shouted that word. Explode. Biwa-Juzo was already seriously injured that time and was blown aside again. The two consecutive attacks surprised Kuroko. Shari, are you okay? Although Kuroko stood behind Shari, it was the first time for Kuroko to feel such a close explosion. Don't worry, I'm fine. After the smoke dissipated, Shari's body suddenly appeared in the original place. Asshole, you can actually perform such a trick. At this moment, Biwa-Juzo did not expect that Shari could operate the explosive knife in his hand so skillfully. You can still talk, it seems that the damage is not enough. Shari immediately waved the explosive knife in his hand and slashed at Biwa-Juzo. Although he was seriously injured now, he was still able to pick up the beheading knife pliers in his hand to resist. With a bang, the two people's knives chopped together fiercely. But because Biwa-Juzo was seriously injured at the moment, he did not have enough strength. With just one blow, Shari directly knocked Biwa-Juzang's body back several steps. Woman, you will regret it. Although Biwa-Juzang said this, Biwa-Juzang's own strength was indeed much weaker. Go to hell. Biwa-Juzang tried his best to swing the beheading sword in his hand and slashed at Shari. After a loud bang, Shari's body stood still. Chapter 271. Go to hell. Ah. Biwa-Juzang whistled, and then chopped the beheading sword in his hand again. But no matter how the policy realizes power, Shari's body still did not suffer a single injury. Even Shari stood there without any sign of retreating. To put it bluntly, Biwa-Juzang no longer has the strength to hurt Shari. Like Shari now, even if Biwa-Juzang attacked him thousands or hundreds of times, it is estimated that Shari would not be hurt at all. Water escape. Water dragon bullet. Although Biwa-Juzang was seriously injured now, Biwa-Juzang had no intention of giving up. With a loud bang in the air, the water dragon bullet hit Shari directly. Although Shari's body retreated a few steps, Shari was still not injured. At the critical moment, Shari picked up the explosive knife Famo in his hand and directly blocked the attack. I don't believe you can block more times in succession. At this moment, Biwa-Juzang has reached the end of his strength. But Biwa-Juzang has no intention of giving up. Water escape. Water continuous bullet technique. Biwa-Juzang attacked Shari and Kuroko at the same time. Kuroko picked up the knife in his hand and easily blocked the damage this time. And Shari also blocked the explosion with the explosive knife in his hand. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Biwa Juzang was very clear about his own strength. If it weren't for the fact that he was seriously injured, the ninjutsu he just performed could easily kill their lovers here. But now they are not only alive, but also not even injured. I don't believe that you two can withstand so many attacks from me, Diaresis. Biwa Juzang roared. Although Biwa Juzang's injuries seem to have recovered, it will take a long time for the scars in his body to recover. After hearing this, Shari sneered and looked at Biwa Juzang with disdain. With your current three-legged cat skills, you'd better not show them in front of me. Biwa Juzo frowned after hearing this. At this moment, the two chakra lines behind Biwa Juzo were constantly inputting chakra into Biwa Juzo. Although Biwa Juzo could feel the lack of energy in his body, he did not dare to act rashly at this time. Just when Biwa Juzo was about to take action, suddenly, the shuriken hit him. Biwa Juzo immediately waved the beheading sword in his hand to resist. After a few sounds, his hands were all cut into two sections. You don't need to show your mediocre skills in front of me. Biwa Juzo sent back Shari's words just now intact. But after hearing this, Shari did not show any anger at all, but raised a scornful smile at the corner of his mouth. No, that's not right. When Biwa Juzo realized that something was wrong, it was too late. The shurikens that Shari had just thrown were all tied with detonating tags. When these shurikens were cut into two pieces, all the detonating tags on them were activated. After a series of loud noises, all the detonating tags exploded at the same time. Biwa Juzo immediately tightened his beheading sword in his hand. Although he could resist some of the damage, most of the damage still fell on Biwa Juzo. This time, Biwa Juzo no longer had that much energy. The enhanced detonating tag was very powerful. The injury that Biwa Juzo had recovered with great difficulty was now completely out of control. Waiting for the smoke from the detonating tag to dissipate, a broken figure stood in place. Most of Biwa Juzo's body was blown to pieces in the explosion just now. It seems that if you want to kill him, you need to work harder. After Shari said this to himself, he immediately took the explosive knife Famo in his hand and slashed at Biwa Juzo again. At this moment, several Anbu ninjas around him have chased him. Before Hitaki Kusuo reminded him, Shari had already found the traces of these people. Peacock magic. Flames suddenly burned on Shari's body. Fire escape, fire dragon bullet technique. A ball of flames suddenly sprayed out of Shari's mouth, and immediately spread around his body. At this point, even the chakra line behind Biwa Juzo is constantly supplying Biwa Juzo with repaired power cabinets. However, there was no way to completely recover from the injuries suffered by Biwa Juzo in the first place. It looks like it should be almost done. Kuroko clenched the short knife in his hand. Several reinforcements who came over were immediately killed by Kuroko. Kuroko, come back first. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Kuroko put down the knife in his hand with reluctance. Although Kuroko hoped to help Shari himself, if Hitaki Kusuo did not allow it, Kuroko would stop immediately. Chapter 272. This battle is to let Shari practice more. Even if there is no help from Kuroko now, Shari is not afraid to meet these opponents alone. Explosive knife technique. Explode. The violent explosion instantly enveloped all the reinforcements. Although Biwa Juzo's body has recovered at this moment. But those recoveries are only superficial. Woman, who are you? At this moment, Biwa Juzo has also realized that if he relies on his own strength, he will probably die here. But seeing that these reinforcements have arrived, they can easily solve Shari's problem. You don't need to know. Shari said coldly. After the voice fell, Shari immediately waved the explosive knife in his hand. There was a loud bang. Countless detonating tags fell from the sky. Accompanied by the attack of the explosive knife, Biwa Juzo's body was blown to pieces in the explosion. After the smoke of the explosion dissipated, only a beheading sword and a scroll remained in place. Shari stepped forward and picked up both of them. Master Hitaki Kusuo, this is the beheading sword and the scroll. Hitaki Kusuo took a look at the two things, and then opened the scroll. As expected, the scroll recorded the border defense map of the Land of Fire. Although Kusuo Hitaki didn't know why Orochimaru was looking for such a thing. But now Orochimaru would definitely not get the defense map. Kusuo Hitaki walked to the broken body of Juzo Biwa. The chakra lines in Juzo Biwa had been completely broken by the explosion. And following the tracking of the transparent world, Kusuo Hitaki also found that the chakra disappeared first. Since this scroll is in our hands, we might as well destroy it. After saying this, Kusuo Hitaki threw the scroll to Shari. Shari nodded immediately. Fire escape. Fire dragon bullet technique. The huge flame instantly enveloped the scroll. The scroll was burned to ashes. Kusuo Hitaki looked at the explosive knife and beheading sword in his hand. It seems that 2 of the 7 swords have been found now. Hitaki Kusuo knew that the other 5 ninja swords were not so easy to find. Moreover, Kusuo Hitaki didn't know where Orochimaru had resurrected them and arranged them. The Mizukage hadn't officially sent these people out yet. While Kusuo Hitaki was thinking about these things, several flares were shot into the air not far away. It seems that these reinforcements have arrived. After hearing what Kusuo Hitaki said, Shari nodded immediately. But in this case, let's retreat first. Kusuo Hitaki looked around briefly. Their current location is already within the scope of the water country. Now that we have obtained the scroll, we will retreat first. Kusuo Hitaki waved his hand, and several people immediately disappeared from the spot. Although Kusuo Hitaki can easily deal with these reinforcements with his strength. But this time, the apprentice had no intention of taking action. Especially in this action, Kusuo Hitaki hoped to let Shari train more. Several people found a safe place nearby to rest. What have you gained from these 2 battles? Shari looked up at Kusuo Hitaki. At this moment, there are 2 swords in Shari's hands. The strengths of these 2 weapons are different. The ninjutsu used by the 2 of them in battle are almost the same. Hitaki Kusuo was satisfied with Shari's answer. The peacock magic in my body needs more training. If you can better cooperate with the peacock magic, the ninjutsu you can exert will be more powerful. Although in Hitaki Kusuo's heart, this Bakudo Famo has been assigned to Shari. But that day has not come after all. Hitaki Kusuo planned to bring Shari back to his Demon Slayer Corps and then assign this weapon to her. Shari was not angry because Hitaki Kusuo did not give him this Bakudo Famo. Why did you bring someone secretly? I will be fine and will not let you down. Kuroko suddenly looked up at Shari. I'm sorry, my attitude when talking to you before was not very good. Now, Kuroko finally recognized Shari as the instructor of the Demon Slayer Corps. I also hope that you can pass on your peacock magic to all my Demon Slayer Corps members. At this point, Kusuo Hitaki had nothing to hide from Natsuhi. Kusuo Hitaki thought that Natsuhi would find an excuse to prevaricate. But Natsuhi actually nodded directly. Don't worry, as long as you hand over your Demon Slayer Corps to me, I will definitely give them all my peacock magic. For Natsuhi, there are people who can heal, and it is also because of Kusuo Hitaki that all the villagers of the Star Ninja village were saved. The 3 of them communicated for a long time under the bonfire. Take these 2 weapons back to the Land of Fire to find Hinata. Kusuo Hitaki handed the 2 knives to Kuroko at the same time. Chapter 273. Kuroko took the 2 knives and nodded. Don't worry, Kusuo Hitaki, I will definitely take good care of Hinata. Kusuo Hitaki nodded. It has been a long time since I went back to see Hinata. I don't know what her condition is now. Fortunately, Shion is there to help, so Kusuo Hitaki is not without worry. You should also pay more attention to Orochimaru in the near future. Kusuo Hitaki didn't know what Orochimaru was doing recently. Not only did he revive the 7 ninja swordsmen, but the strength of these people has also been greatly improved. Yes, Lord Kusuo. Kuroko hung the 2 swords behind him, bowed to Kusuo Hitaki and the others, and then said goodbye directly. You should recover from your physical injuries now. After Kuroko left, Kusuo Hitaki turned his head and glanced at Shari. Kusuo Hitaki could clearly feel that although Shari didn't look injured now. After these two battles, some meridians in Shari's body were damaged to varying degrees. The two people I met before are very strong. I have never met them in the village before. After hearing Shari's words, Hitaki Kusuo gently patted Shari's shoulder. These two people are called one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. As for their strength, it's just like the name. Although Shari didn't say anything, the name just sounds very powerful. That means there are 5 other people. Shari's eyes were very solemn. I can give you a brief introduction to the strength of these 7 people. These people were once elite ninjas in the land of water. And each of them reached the level of elite Jonin when they were alive. As for the swords he held. When Hitaki Kusuo said this, he looked up at Shari. You have witnessed the strength of these swords before. They had reached Jonin when they were alive. At present, they are close to the strength of Kage when they are resurrected. After saying that, Shari looked up at Hitaki Kusuo. According to Kusuo Hitaki, the strength of these people in their lifetime could contribute to some small cities or countries. However, the power they have exerted after their resurrection is far beyond Shari's imagination. If they had not met Kusuo Hitaki and the others, if they were ordinary countries, they would probably have met these people, will suffer considerable damage. If it were an ordinary Kage-level existence, an ordinary village would not have any strength to deal with it. But there are 7 of them. These people joined forces in the battle, and the strength they could exert was unimaginable. If you meet them again, do you have the confidence to deal with them? After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari hesitated this time. If I were to use my own strength in normal times, I would definitely be able to deal with it easily. But Shari could clearly feel that the strength of these people was not only improving. And the ninjutsu they could exert were also different. Don't worry, Master Hitaki Kusuo, if I meet the enemy again, I will definitely kill them. Shari looked at Hitaki Kusuo with a serious face. 0 Please give me flowers. Although the opponents I met these times have become stronger, I have no intention of giving up. The opponents you are facing now will only become stronger. But if you are fatally injured, I will take action at any time. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari smiled with ease. Adjust your physical condition. We will continue to move forward after a while. Hitaki Kusuo found another suitable cave. This time, Hitaki Kusuo carefully checked the cave several times using his transparent world. After confirming that there was no problem, Hitaki Kusuo took Shari into the cave. Our plan for this action is to go to the land of water to kill the Mizukage. But now this matter should not be as smooth as we imagined. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari did not say anything. Shari followed Hitaki Kusuo because of Hitaki Kusuo's life-saving grace. And now Hitaki Kusuo is also carefully teaching Shari how to use these ninjutsu. This adjustment took nearly a month. During this period, even Kuroko never found Kusuo Hitaki. Kusuo Hitaki took advantage of these few days to study this ninjutsu. I never thought that Orochimaru could master the puppet technique in such a short time. Kusuo Hitaki has been studying the puppet technique for a month. Kusuo Hitaki also knows more about the puppet technique. Master Kusuo Hitaki, when are we going to set off next? Chapter 274. After such a long period of adjustment, the scars in Shari's body have disappeared completely. Kusuo Hitaki closed his eyes and carefully checked the meridians in Shari's body, but unexpectedly found that Shari's meridians were much thicker than before. It can be seen that your body has recovered a lot now. Since everything is ready, we can set off directly after a while. Water Country, Mizukage's office. There are 2 ninjas kneeling on one knee in front of the Mizukage. Sorry, Mizukage. We have dated 2 people before, but both of them have failed. One of them spoke in a very gloomy voice. When the man looked up, it was unexpected to find that the person who spoke was Orochimaru. If Hitaki Kusuo was nearby at this time, he would have discovered that Orochimaru had colluded with the Mizukage. It's okay that the 2 people died, but I don't know where the weapons in their hands are now. The Mizukage was also very clear about the importance of the 2 swords. According to my record of their last moment, they should have lost the weapons. At that time, Orochi used his puppet technique to control the two people. At the last moment before their death, he felt that they did not put people in other places. Everyone clearly felt that they did not put the ninja swords in other places. But the troops sent there later did not find any traces of the two ninja swords. It seems that the two swords must have been taken away by Hitaki Kusuo and the others. Orochimaru knew very well the strength of Kusuo Hitaki, so he naturally did not dare to provoke him easily. But now Orochimaru has become different after getting the help of Mizukage. If he could use the help of Mizukage and rely on the relationship between the two countries, Orochimaru could make Kusuo Hitaki a little afraid. After all, Hinata and the Hyuga family are now within the scope of the Land of Fire. If the two countries fight at this time, Kusuo Hitaki will definitely take Hinata's family into consideration. Orochimaru has already made this calculation perfectly, but what he never expected is that Kusuo Hitaki would choose to take the knife away. You know very well in your heart how much effort we put in to gather all these knives together. If you lose them all, it will definitely not work. As a result, Mizukage does not have so much patience for Orochimaru now. After hearing this, Orochimaru was shocked and naturally realized the problem. Don't worry, Mizukage-sama, I will definitely send someone to bring these weapons back to you. Orochimaru knew very well the mentality of the Mizukage now. Although Orochimaru was not afraid of the Mizukage, he did not want to make the relationship between him and the Mizukage awkward. After all, if you want to restrain Hitaki Kusuo now, the Mizukage is the most perfect choice. Send someone to do this for me now. Orochimaru frowned slightly after hearing this. Okay. Orochimaru left this word and turned around and walked out of the office. Up to now, few people can play with the god and speak in such a tone. After hearing this, Orochimaru was inevitably a little angry. Go back and check it out for me to see how those two trash lost. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Yakushi Kabuto nodded quickly. If it was a trivial matter, Orochimaru would not easily lose his temper. But after the reaction of the Mizukage today, Orochimaru was also very angry. Yakushi Kabuto was also a little confused. This time, the puppet's strength took a lot of effort. Originally, Yakushi Kabuto thought that if he met Hitaki Kusuo, he could easily avoid the damage by arranging the people of the 7 ninja swordsmen to retreat quickly. But unexpectedly, Hitaki Kusuo actually arranged one of his ninjas to easily kill both ninjas. Lord Orochimaru, I have a good idea. Speak. Orochimaru's eyes were extremely impatient. We can directly send the remaining 5 people this time. It is estimated that the 2 lost ninja swords can be tracked back. Send 5 people to find the 2 lost ninja swords. If the opponent is someone else, this is a mission that must be won. But if it is Hitaki Kusuo and the other 2, this mission is a gamble. Moreover, it is a very dangerous gamble. So, have you ever thought about what if these 5 people die? It won't fail. Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto Yakushi looked at Orochimaru with a serious face. This failure is also an experiment for him. It is also a good deal to be able to test Hitaki Kusuo with the lives of these 2 people. Orochimaru turned his head and stared at Kabuto Yakushi. Chapter 275. Like the attitude of the Mizukage speaking today, Orochimaru never wants to listen again. Send them out to investigate carefully. If there is a problem again, you know what the consequences will be. After saying that, Orochimaru walked out without looking back. Only Kabuto Yakushi was left standing there alone. Don't worry, Lord Orochimaru, I will definitely complete this mission. Although Orochimaru had already walked away, Kabuto Yakushi still stood there and murmured. Back at the secret base, Kabuto Yakushi immediately began to manipulate the 5 people who were resurrected by the impure world reincarnation. Go and get me the 2 swords from before. Yes. The 5 people answered in unison. According to Kabuto Yakushi's order, Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost took the lead and immediately chased in 5 different directions. After the 5 people chased out, Kabuto Yakushi stopped and looked at the backs of several people. There was a ghostly smile on the corner of Kabuto Yakushi's mouth. 06 Water Country, Border. Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost brought a few people with him. Check all the places around here carefully. Under the order of Ziguashan Puffer Ghost, several Anbu ninjas immediately went to the vicinity to search. At this moment, Hitaki Kusuo and Shari, who were hiding in the cave, soon found each other's traces. It seems that the other party has come. Hitaki Kusuo slowly opened his eyes. Don't worry, Master Hitaki Kusuo. If the other party comes, I will definitely help you deal with it. After a month of recuperation, Shari's physical condition is very different from before. Hitaki Kusuo didn't say anything, but just opened his eyes to check Shari's body. Through Hitaki Kusuo's transparent world, Hitaki Kusuo can clearly feel the changes in Shari's body. You guys search this cave carefully. With the conditions of the previous mission delivery, this time the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost paid special attention to the caves nearby. It's just that there is no news about Hitaki Kusuo yet. It's not easy for the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost to seal all the caves. Yes. Several Anbu ninjas nodded and replied immediately. It's just that the task of entering the cave to search is not a difficult task for them. After all, several people have reached the strength of the Anbu. In normal times, they can complete S-level tasks alone. However, the task assigned to them today is just an ordinary cave search task. Now the only place we have left to explore is this cave. Just when the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost arranged for these people to enter the cave, several ninjas came to report immediately. After hearing this, the corners of the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost's mouth raised a satisfied smile. It seems that as long as there is no problem with this cave in front of us, our action this time can end here. When Ziguashan Puffer Ghost was on a mission before, he had never encountered a situation where the enemy was hiding. Even if he found the enemy never fought with him's experience. Let's go. Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost waved his hand, and several Anbu ninjas retreated with him at the same time. The Anbu ninjas behind him took a look at the cave and retreated directly. Master Hitaki Kusuo, they seem to have retreated. Should we chase them? Shari turned his head and glanced at Hitaki Kusuo. But Hitaki Kusuo had no intention of chasing them. No need. They retreated directly, so let them go first. Hitaki Kusuo knew that once they retreated, they must have other tasks to perform. However, we can chase them and see what these people are doing. Hitaki Kusuo was surprised to find that when Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost left this time, the chakra behind him unexpectedly exposed his tracks. It seems that the direction they are going should be Kusagakure village. Yes. Shari nodded immediately and followed Hitaki Kusuo in the direction where the few people left. Help! Just as Shari entered the Kusagakure village, she suddenly heard a woman's cry for help from the forest. Shari frowned slightly. She felt that someone must be in danger, and it was a woman. Master Hitaki Kusuo, shall we go and take a look? Shari is usually a woman, so she will naturally burst out with sympathy when encountering a crisis. Let's go. With the consent of Hitaki Kusuo, Shari immediately nodded and hurried to the direction of the cry for help. Stop. At this moment, there was a manjetsu in the forest, chasing a 15 or 16-year-old girl. The girl was dressed simply, even a little shabby, and her hair was a little messy, but she had a slim figure, and her face was pure and beautiful. She was a beauty at first glance. However, she was facing a life and death crisis at the moment. Plop. Suddenly, the girl's foot twisted, and then she fell directly to the ground with a plop. She immediately broke her kneecap. Now she was in a state of disgrace, with injuries on her body, and she couldn't run away.